We're back at the big board with Chris Bedford, executive editor for the Common Sense Society. All right, Chris, let's kick things off in one of my favorite states. I spend a lot of time, everyone knows, in Minnesota. We have an attorney general's race where incumbent Democrat Keith Ellison, is tied with Republican challenger Jim Schultz at 47. What is going on?
That's pretty wild. Minnesota is a liberal state, to say the least. Minnesota is the only state that voted against Ronald Reagan in his reelection, for example, them in Washington, D.C. And Keith Ellison is a liberal icon, a former national figure, someone who also at the same time attacked the police over the violence after George Floyd. When I did reporting in Minnesota after the last election, bartenders, store owners, regular people were upset with the level of crime. The capital city had become a ghost town, and he's not prosecuting. He's aware of this now, though. His first campaign ad was about how tough he is on crime, but the people who are suffering, they don't believe that one bit.
It's a mess there. Now, Chris, let's take a look at what's happening in Minneapolis proper. Now, compared to 2019, homicides are up 166%, carjackings up 519%, gunshot victims 101%. This is the biggest issue. I saw it firsthand when I was there in the summer and the summer before that. It's big.
It's sad. I've seen it firsthand, too. Walking to a great dinner place, it felt like walking through a Marilyn Manson music video. It was creepy. The streets were dark. People were afraid. The waiter said their business was basically dried up. And people were responding by rioting all the time. The police couldn't get anything done. Even if someone was a murderer, someone needed to be taken in by the police, there'd be a riot, and they've lost control of the city.
Chris, let's turn to the House. Now, let's go to New York's 17th district, where Republican Mike Lawler is trying to upset Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney, who's the DCCC chair. Now, a McCarthy-aligned super PAC is dumping $4 million of broadcast TV ads there to help Lawler, who is fantastic, by the way. What can you tell us about that race?
Well, this is another race that's in trouble. In New York, you see, which is another liberal state, the Republican governor candidate is only a few points behind the Democrats. So that means that for Republican Democrats that are in districts that are much closer, that Democrat's got to run. They've got to be in trouble. So the Republicans are gaining their ahead. They're probably going to take that, it looks like. They're probably going to take all of Long Island. It's going to be a very different map for New Yorkers, and it's, again, a response to the crime, the inflation, and all the issues that Democrats don't want to talk about.
And New York deserves better than Maloney. Now, I want to turn to Virginia's 10th district, where Democrat Jennifer Dexton is neck and neck with Republican Hung Cao, even in Cao's own internal polling. Chris, what can you tell us?
So this used to be a Republican district. This is Barbara Comstock's district, but it switched, and then Wexton won in 2018. She's one of those wave blue candidates. So that doesn't mean that she's got a firm hold. Now, Hung Cao came on the scene. This guy is a Special Forces lifetime veteran. He's got a big family who he's extremely proud of. He's got a great sense of humor. He's answered all the questions correctly. He's a strong candidate. Even though Northern Virginia keeps on getting more blue in a wave year, this is one of those wobbly districts that could go Republican.
Fairfax is having trouble in the schools with the woke agenda and also in crime, so that's big. Chris, here's what Jennifer Wexton had to say about Governor Glenn Youngkin's school transgender plan. One of the concerns I have about the plan is that it would not require that teachers use the proper pronouns for kids. I don't think he's about the kids himself. Is Wexton trying to lose this race? This doesn't fly in Fairfax.
It's the kind of thing that's actually gotten parents of all political persuasions, Obama supporters, Biden supporters, Trump supporters, out together. And people who've never been political, when they go out there to Fairfax and other areas, interview parents, people who've never been involved are really electric about this. It's what got Glenn Youngkin elected. When he ran on the grocery tax, no one cared. When he ran on the woke agenda in schools, well, then voters came out for him.
All right. Well, we have a crazy election cycle coming up. We have New England in play. We have Pacific Northwest in play. And we also have interesting things happening in states like Oklahoma, where the Oklahoma governor's race, incumbent Governor Kevin Stitt is now down 4 points to Democrat challenger Joy Hoffmeister. Now, this was a state that Stitt won by 12 points in 2018, so this is a bit of an outlier compared to what we're seeing across the country for Republicans. What's happening?
It is, and Stitt won, and then he delivered on a conservative agenda. He's been tough on schools. He's been tough on hospitals, been tough on the wokesters. He's basically followed in the mold of maybe Abbott or DeSantis. His problem seems to be more local. He's been accused repeatedly of corruption, and particularly around restaurant licenses. He had some resignations from his government. And at the same time, Hoffmeister is someone who's well-liked, who's a good campaigner, who's won a couple statewide races. Now, this one, just like the Oregon race, may be something where people get into the ballot box and say, you know what, I'm going to go with my partisan feelings. I just simply can't vote against my party. But right now, it's looking terrible for him and is bucking the national trends.
Wow. Okay, there always has to be one. Chris, great to see you. Thanks so much.